come over and have a look. I've got some information there on the table. We've also introduced some pre-rigged rescue systems. And again, you'll see them on the table over there. We now have systems where you can drop 300 kilos, 150 metres. There's nothing in the marketplace. We've now got twin brake systems, not singles, twins. What happens if you've got a single brake system and a controlled descent device that fails? If you're lucky it jams up, you don't go anywhere and you can be rescued. But we have two twin brake systems there. One which is normally used for egress, say from a crane, and the second one we can use in rescue. It has a wheel on it. We can power that wheel with a drill. We can raise and lower a person on it. And probably about 20 different ways that we can physically use this in a rescue situation. As I mentioned before, my expertise, if you would like to call it that, is in the fall arrest industry. And I'm sure that you are aware that we have 4 standards in the industry that we really need to look at when we're looking at fall arrest and working at height. And you are probably aware of the changes in the standard which happened fairly recently, a few years ago. And one of the major things that happened was that restraint, as we know it, is now out of the standard. It no longer exists under the standard. Restraint, for example, the anchor point for restraint was 6 kilonewton. That's gone. We now have 3 ratings in the standard: 15 kilonewton for one person, 21 kilonewton for 2 people, and 12 kilonewton for a limited free fall of 600 millimetre. Personally, I don't like the idea of having 2 people attached to an anchor point. Depending on the types of hooks that you're using, there's a possibility of rollout, there's a possibility of delatching. If we look at the standard, when a double action hook or a carabiner is tested, it's tested lengthways, the spline is tested. What do you think the minimum requirement of the standard is for a gate on a double action hook? The actual spline might take up 2.2 tonne, 22 up to 30, 35 kilonewton. What do you think the gate needs to take under the standard? Sorry? That's correct. 150 kilos on the side and 100 kilos on the gate, on the face. Imagine what would happen if we were using a non-compatible system and the gate came in contact with the anchor point and you fell. What would happen? We're going to rip that gate open. And I can show you videos of that happening. It's quite scary. One of the innovations that we've done throughout our company internationally, all gates now take 1.6 tonne on the side loading, on the face loading. So you haven't got a possibility of getting a forced rollout. The other thing that we have done, everything that we manufacture, bar very few items, are compatible. For example, if you use our hook on our D-ring, you can't get the D-ring in contact with the gate. It's a compatible system. These things, just make that percentage of risk that we take when we work at height just that fractionally smaller by looking at the type of equipment that we're using. I hope it's been of some interest to you. Certainly please, if you want to come across and have a look at some of the gear that we have there, it's quite innovative. We are the largest in the world at what we do. I'm not saying we're the biggest safety company, we're not. But we don't make glasses, we don't make earplugs, we don't make helmets. All we do is specialise in height safety and confined space. Our latest acquisition, you may have heard of a company called Python in the States, dropped objects. Probably the leader in their field is the latest acquisition within the company. And that will now be in Australia by the end of next month. And as we know, dropped objects are becoming more and more in the news these days. It's something we need to look for. Look, I hope it's been of some interest to you. Please, if you want to have a chat, if you'd like to see some demonstrations done on your sites, please by all means have a chat with me and we'll organise what we can for you. Thanks for your time. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Tom. As I said at the start of the program, it's now question and answer time. Our 3 guest speakers are happy to answer any questions that you may have. We do have a roving mic. Pam's holding the mic over there. So now's your chance. It's probably one of the most popular aspects of the safety series is being able to put your questions to the panel. So over to you guys.
Yeah. Thanks for that. I'd be, I guess, called a very infrequent visitor to a building site. So if I'm wandering on a site, what are the maybe 2 key things that I would need to look for that would give me some assurance that the rope access or the Working at Heights company is actually doing the right thing? So maybe these are 2 common mistakes, or to the kind of semi-novice, what are the things I really should be keeping an eye out for, which might be the indication of the iceberg, you know, a little tip above the water, but, you know, problems beneath.
For me, in our industry, is the equipment they're using is tested and tagged. That's the first key that we look at when we see anybody come on site. It's an indication if they're taking it serious or not. And then you can go down deeper to the equipment they're using. So, if you don't see a system where it's regularly tested and tagged, then you can discuss why are you using it, why isn't it tested and tagged, and that kind of then builds the knowledge from there. That's the first step, is you get the basics right. You can then understand if they understand the high level stuff.
And that's every 6 months, is that right?
In VPL we do the rugby system, and we do the riggers and competent people will do every 6 months, and every 12 months we'll go back to Height Dynamics for them to once over the gear and release it back to. They also have a database of our equipment and identify when things are due for us, so it makes it easy for us to have each piece of kit identified to a person and by barcode, so that we can track it but also keep it up to standards.
Probably the more a secondary item would be just the way they're approaching their fall zone underneath. If they've got good barricading, signage. As far as the key indicators, if you were to just walk up with limited knowledge, looking at the equipment, is it in good order? Can you see any referencing to inspection processes? On the ends of ropes, you'll see tags, heat shrink with information stored under it. That would be an obvious sign. And if the equipment is in good order, and then the next thing definitely would be just the fall zone underneath, or the barricading system. If those 2 are taken more seriously, the rest of the processes would need to be done via some form of desktop audit of their safety processes and methodology. Helmets is another thing. I know on a construction site you see helmets everywhere, but if they were, say, in the general building maintenance area, if a company is prudently wearing helmets, is another sign, a telltale sign.
Yeah, all those are very good. My experience in the general height safety industry has been from one stage where everything is really regulated, everything has been tagged and tested. We're talking major sites, and then I turn around and go somewhere else, and the dog's sitting on the harness in the back of the ute. Well, the ute's the same colour as the grease gun that rolls around the back of it every time he turns around a corner. And I've really been shocked and surprised on major sites to see how the equipment has been treated. It's just absolutely unbelievable. I've been on a major site, I'm not going to say where I tagged every piece of height safety equipment out. Every single piece on the site. Carabiners wouldn't close. Someone cut all the information off the harness because they didn't like that little black box on it. You know, crazy stuff. Classic. Storman thought he was doing the right thing, so he got the engraver out and he engraved the company's name on the D-ring on the back of the harness. Or he got the texture out, a little bit of a grey area here, and he wrote the company's name in texture on the back of the harness and then proceeded to wash it off with petrol. These are the type of things that I've seen in the industry. One stage, everything's perfect, you can see it, you want their register, it's there, and the other part, crazy stuff. And it's only going to lead to injury, it's only going to lead to death. There's one thing for certain in height safety. It doesn't matter whether you fall from 2 metres or 20 metres, usually the result is the same, unfortunately. So equipment really needs to be checked and looked after properly. So many people take it for granted. More people fall off a flat roof than a pitched roof because they do this every day. They just take it for granted.
Thank you. Your thoughts on refresher training, duration, and what